I think it comes from the fact that the meat packing company that is actually selling this product, they sell pork loins, and the founder is to be thought of as the loin king. And so he named his company Loins of Punjab. And of course, for me, it's also partly a joke on 70s movies. I'm a big fan of Bollywood movies. And there used to be this villain, Ajit, in the 70s, who would always mispronounce lion and say loin. So there'd be dialogues where he'd say, in the entire city, people know me as loin. And I've always found that. As a child, I found it funny. I still find it funny. And so I think it's also a play on those words. And lastly, I think it's a title that makes people stop in their tracks and go, what's that? Like, I mean, it's not a usual movie title, Loins of Punjab. So I think that's also, all those thoughts kind of went into it to have the movie be called Loins of Punjab. Well, Loins of Punjab, a friend of mine who's a playwright in New York, and I was sitting in a Starbucks in Midtown Manhattan discussing how people were just kind of getting fascinated by Bollywood. And I thought the one thing that they were not hitting on, this kind of the Western interest that was suddenly coming out, was they weren't hitting on what I think makes Bollywood movies so special, which is the songs. I'm a huge fan of Hindi film songs. I know tons of people who, go to a banking job or work in IT or whatever, who, even though they've left India many years ago, still love Hindi film songs. And it becomes a part of their life. I mean, that's the one thing they still get from India. They still hear the songs. So I think that's where the idea first came from. And then as we started describing these singing contests that take part, and the movie, as you know, is about a singing contest set in New Jersey, where a bunch of characters kind of come in for the weekend to take part. So once we started describing these characters, we started amusing ourselves. We kind of were cracking each other up. And I thought to myself, I really want to see this on screen. And so we wrote the script, and the movie kind of, even though I was working on a couple of other scripts at the same time, this one kept asking to be worked on, in the sense that that's the one I wanted to do all the time. And so finally when we finished the script, we thought, all right, this is the one that I want to make as my first film. It's also one that, given that there were no expectations of me, because no one had heard of me or anything, I felt there was the one movie I could make kind of without everyone telling me, oh no, they don't expect this from you, they expect this from you. I mean, it's a movie with a Woody Allen, Wes Anderson kind of humor. It has Karan Johar type songs. I mean, it's completely a mix of a lot of different influences and cultures. And I feel that's what I am as well. And a lot of us are, especially in America, especially when you look at the immigrant experience. I mean, we have a bit of the American in us, we have a bit of the Indian in us. I don't think we can be very clearly classified into one box, and I think the movie is like that. We thought about setting it in India actually at one point, but I think what it really came down to for me was, when you see the movie, you realize there's an entire range of characters. There's a socialite that is kind of very high up on the social scale, played by Shaban Azmi. There is a rapper played by Ajay Naidu of Office Space, from a very kind of low income area, whose father is an auto mechanic. There's an aspiring actress, there's a Wall Street banker. All these people are taking part. There's a grocer's family from New Jersey. Now the thing is that the prize money of $25,000 was a number that made sense for all these people, for some more than the others, but it was still not a trivial sum. In India, if I set this movie in India, I was thinking, what would the prize be? To make the prize interesting enough for the top end of the spectrum would have been so life-changing for the bottom end of the spectrum that some of the comedy was out of the window. To me, if I had made the prize, say 500,000 rupees, say 5 lakhs. Now that would be something perhaps the socialite might be interested in, but maybe not. At the same time, that would have completely changed the life of a laborer. And I just didn't find the comedy in that. To me, that's the income disparity in India. I mean, that's actually kind of sad, at the difference between the haves and the have-nots. I think in India, I mean in the US, especially within the Indian American community, that difference is not so large, which is what makes a movie like this possible as a comedy, as an entertainer. Well, I just went and danced for her, and she loved my dancing. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, I wrote, I sent her the script. I called her up and sent her the script. And actually, calling her is a funny kind of incident. I got the number from a mutual friend. I gave her a call, expected her assistant to pick up, but I guess I'd been given a private number, something. She picked up the phone, and it's, this is unique because in India, most of the times when you call an actor, you get an answer like, the actor is having a bath or the actor is sleeping. And I've always thought that India is the most rested, cleanest actors in the world because they're either sleeping or having a bath. So it was kind of funny that Shabana actually picked up herself, and she must be getting 100 calls like this, so she was very, very brief, like send me the script, I'll see what I can do. I expected to hear from her maybe 2 weeks later. I would call her, say, please ma'am, have you read the script? 2 days later, I get a call from her at 7 in the morning. She said, I've read the script, I want to meet with you. We met, and she was on. So it was actually an incredibly short process, and I feel that it was the power of the writing that attracted her to it. Later when I asked her, how come you kind of signed on so quickly, she said, one was the script, and two, I wanted to meet you to see if you would do justice to it. And she said that 2 minutes after I met you, I realized that you would. So I obviously, we now know that even Shabana Azmi can make wrong decisions. No, I'm very happy to actually have her in the film. She's incredible. She's a pleasure to work with, and it's been great. I think what's really amazing about great actors is the amount of gradations they have between two variants of an emotion. So let's say angry to very angry. An okay actor can give you maybe 2 gradations. He'll be a little more angry, and then suddenly they'll be very angry. Someone like a Shabana might have 100 gradations between angry and very angry, or whatever the emotion might be. I think that is the pleasure. You feel you're driving like a performance car, where a car has so many ability for you to control it really any way you want. And so the flip side of that is that if the actor trusts you as a director, they give you that control. And thankfully, not only Shabana, but the other members of this cast, and I think they're fantastic. I mean, I feel bad singling Shabana out for this, but they allowed me to direct them, which is a privilege. And I think in the end, that shows on screen. And going back to the Shabana thing, exactly. I mean, that's what's great about her is that when you direct her, she gives you so many things to mold, that it becomes very exciting. I think there's one great advantage of an ensemble film. I mean, as you know, there are 40 speaking parts in Loins of Punjab. Lots of great actors. There's Shabana Azmi, of course. There's Ayesha Dharkar, who's been in Star Wars and Bombay Dreams. Ajay Naidu, who's been in Office Space, bunch of movies. Darshan Jariwala, Gandhi, My Father. Jameel Khan, who's really well known in theatre in Bombay. Seema Rahmani. So it's an amazing cast of characters together. So it's fun to direct them because every actor has his own directing style, and so as a director, it's you walk in and every day is kind of a challenge, a good challenge. Like what's the best way to communicate with this particular person? The thing about an ensemble film that makes it really interesting and difficult is that it's a juggling act. You have to decide which character is on screen for how long can this character be off screen without the audience forgetting about him or her. And I think that's why so few ensemble films are good, but those that are just a pleasure because you are pulled into this world, and it's this real world populated with many interesting and different kinds of people. So I had a lot of fun doing that. My background actually, interestingly, is in physics and computer science. I'm from a middle class family in Bombay, and I think when I was younger, the idea of even being a filmmaker was completely foreign. I mean, I might as well have said I wanted to be an astronaut. That would have probably been a more achievable career goal. And so, I didn't really think much about it. It was just kind of an interest. I loved movies. I got a degree in physics and computer science, then got a degree in industrial relations. which was a combination of psychology, economics, and management, and was a founding member of a software company, about 10 of us together. And then we kind of grew the company over 6 years, took it public. And I was thinking during the end of this kind of ride, is this what I want to do for the rest of my life? And the answer was no, actually. I wanted to try something else. I wanted work days that were significantly different from my previous work days. I wanted to go in every day and kind of go to work and not even think I was working. Okay, and when I thought about it, I realized that I wanted to try my hand at making a movie. And so I applied to NYU Film School. And as I was doing the application, it occurred to me that, I'm not going to get in. There are 900 applicants. There are 30 slots. But it was very clear to me then that, something, just by doing the application, I was sure this is what I want to do. I want to become a filmmaker. Now, interestingly, I did get into NYU, which I still think is a clerical error of some sort, But so I went there, 3-year program, got a master's in directing, and this is my first movie. So yes, I do have some training. However, you're also right in saying that this is perhaps not the typical choice for a first film. Normally it tends to be 1 or 2 characters, limited locations. This is kind of a big canvas. But it was fun to do. So, and it's fun to it's fun for me to see audiences react the way they have. Not only in India, in New York, in Texas. I mean, we're opening in California, and everywhere this movie has been really appreciated. We won audience awards at film festivals, and so I'm glad this was my first movie. Well, the movie released in India in September last year, and everyone thought it would maybe last a couple of weeks in the theater, if that. Movies in English, the humor is very Western. They just didn't think it would work that well, but still, enough people liked it. They said, let's give it a shot, let's put it out there. The movie ran for 7 weeks. It was quite a big success. I've been told that it's the highest grossing English language comedy in India. So India was great. But I really wanted to release it in the US because in some ways that's where the movie was conceived, that's where the movie was set. And I felt like releasing it there in front of an audience that is quite discerning in the fact, in terms of the reality of the situation, where they can say, no, it's not like this, oh, I don't believe that. So I wanted to kind of put the movie to the test there. I like comedies. I like comedies because of a couple of reasons. One is that it's fun. Your work day is fun. You're going in, there's a certain lightness of spirit when you're working, which is really nice. But the other thing, and the reason I like comedies so much is because it's one of the few genres that allows you to put kind of deeper messages under it. In some ways, it's like sugarcoating. The comedy sugarcoats the message. I think Charlie Chaplin used to say that comedy is tragedy plus time. And even with this movie, with Loins of Punjab, I feel that there are deeper issues at the core of it, issues of belonging, issues of being, like who's a foreigner, who's an insider, who's an outsider. These are all issues kind of hit upon in the film, but in a way that is subliminal, that is subtextual. And I lean towards comedies because of that. I feel that I can put in things that I believe in, or questions that I'm asking myself or asking of my world, in a way that is not obvious. Also, on the flip side, though, comedy is difficult to do. It's one of the most difficult genres partly because, after you hear a joke a bunch of times, it's just not funny to you. And so for me, by the time I was editing the film, during the writing of the film, I'd kind of dealt with some of the funny stuff, right? During the casting, during the production. By the time we were editing, I didn't find anything funny in the movie. So I realized how funny this movie was when I see it with an audience. When I see it alone, I sit there without even a smile on my face. I just see everything that I could have done differently, that I think is wrong. But when I see it with an audience, and I see them, when I hear them laughing, when I sense their enjoyment, that's when I laugh. That's when I enjoy. So I love seeing this movie with an audience. I think my advice for any writer director would be write or own your own material, and then attach yourself to it, which is that the material goes with you. And I think that's not just the best way, probably it's the only way to break into the industry, because there's tons of people out there, tons of directors, tons of actors, everyone is looking for that idea, that great script that they want to kind of get associated with. And if it's your script, nothing better than that. So I think that would be my advice. Right. If you're in software or banking or any non-movie related field and you want to be a filmmaker, I think the first thing to realize is that the glamour is a very small part of the whole pie. This is really hard, back-breaking work. In some ways, I mean, I've been involved in 2 startups, and they both seem like a cakewalk compared to getting my first film made. Okay, so that's the first thing to kind of keep in mind. However, if you do decide that you are someone who wants to take this challenge on, that you feel passionately and want to be a filmmaker, one thing I'll say is it's an incredibly rewarding field in the sense of the psychic reward of creating on a daily basis is phenomenal. And then to the very operational detail of how do you do it, write a compelling script. Once you have something that's compelling, the actors will come to you, the great technicians will come to you, the producers, the money, everything will happen. Write something compelling. And the one advantage that you have that the professional script writer doesn't have is that you have life experiences that are not about the movies. Write about that. Don't try and write the Bangam of thriller about the underworld when all you know about the underworld is from cinema and from movies. Write about something you know, because it will be real, it will be compelling, and that's the movie that will get made. Yes, I think the answer would be yes, in the sense that LOINS of Punjab addresses issues that I was dealing with around the time the movie was made, which are really the idea of belonging to a certain place. I mean, this was after 9/11, after suddenly this idea that brown skin could mean danger. And I was sitting there going, what does that mean for someone who's, say, born and brought up in the middle of America, for example, who is American, but suddenly because of the way they look, might be regarded as someone as the other. And so those are the questions. So at that point, this is a movie that came out. Today I'm at a different place in my life. I have different questions. And I'm sure those questions will find their way into my films. So yes, I think my movies will be personal. At the same time, I think it's important to note that they're personal for me. For someone else, for example, when most people see LOINS, they see a comedy. They see 90 minutes of fun. They've come in, they laugh for 90 minutes, they come out having a great time. They don't think, oh wow, look, this is a personal film for the filmmaker. And I think that's also important, that your personalness in the film is subtextual. It's not all kind of on the top, and it's not indulgent. And so I hope my movies are personal, but not indulgent, and very, very accessible. Just like I think LOINS is for the most part. Someone told me they'd seen the movie 5 times in the theater in New York City, and every time they saw it, they found something new in it. And that is great, because I've always believed that good movies reward repeat viewings. And for someone to see the movie that often and love it, and then still ask me when's the DVD coming out because they want to buy it, that was great. I mean, actually, I just recently got a very insulting email insulting me, telling me that I was a fool to not have the DVD out yet. And the person was so angry about it. And I'm just glad that people want to see the movie, that they get angry enough to send me insulting emails, because they want to see the movie in their home, they want to see it again, and they can't because the DVD isn't out, for example. So yeah, some of the reactions.